Hey everybody, welcome back to Northernlion plays the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. I do not lose in the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. We're going for win 29. One win for every birthday I've celebrated on planet Earth. Look at this damage, 0.92 on the speed department. 0.92 damage would be horrendous. 13 rate of fire, not great. 6 damage, amazing. And there's your seed. You can read it. Although, wait a minute, I gotta think about it. How do you guys feel about your age? This is gonna sound weird. And now please don't talk about, you know, the fact that you're old but don't feel old anymore. No, it's not like that. Like, mathematically, how do you feel about your age? Cause, like, when you are born, at least here, you're 0. No joke, when you're born in Korea, or when you live in Korea at least, when you're born, you're 1 year old on the day that you come out of the womb. And as stupid as that sounds, because you obviously have not lived for 1 year at that point, I don't think it's as wrong as it sort of seems, because, like, when we turn 1 in North America, it's an indication that we've lived for 1 full year on the planet. So we kind of go from 0 to 1, right? Am I correct in that assumption? I believe so. I'm not running the numbers, but the mathematics seem pretty simple, if you will. Over there, they just do it in, like, the opposite fashion. It's like, when you turn 2, that's the first day of your 2nd year on Earth. It doesn't, when you put it that way, when you put it that way, it doesn't seem that backwards, right? I prefer the North American style, because I've grown up in it, I'm sure, but, you know, I was running the numbers, and I'm like, have I lived for 30 years on planet Earth? No. I've lived for 29.7 years on Earth, and a couple on Venus, of course. Just spiders, no thank you. Because I was thinking, is the North American birthday, like, hey, you're this number, and for the next year, this is like 0 to 364 days of you having lived at this age? Or is it like, hey, you've completed this many rotations around? And it's really like, hey, you've completed this many rotations around. I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? But I am enjoying the run right now. We just had like a 1 in 100 sort of circumstance play out there. We got a penny from a poop on a boss room. That doesn't happen very often. The percentages, at least against Larry Jr., are really weighted against that. I don't know if these same poops have the same percentages, but we'll be moving on. This run looks amazing so far. Really, really simple. Not necessarily easy, but really boils down to just don't get hit. Just build, lol. It's a Fortnite joke. I gotta be honest, I've become like a toxic Twitch chatter, but I'm not toxic in the sense that I go into people's chats and I'm like, nice going, fatty, or something like that. I just go into people's chat, and whenever they're friends of mine, and plus I have like the smallest level of influence, so they can't get mad at me publicly, because if they do, I'll make sure they never look at this town again. So it's really like the ideal situation to get in, but no matter what game they're playing, if they die, I just type just build, because that's what everyone says in Fortnite when you die. You're like, what didn't you build, dude? And it's great. And it spreads throughout the chats, and it just makes Twitch an inhospitable environment for a lot of people, which is unfortunate, but hey, that's the price you pay, you know? But it works the other way too. Like, if you beat somebody in an online multiplayer game, I'll go, why didn't they just build? I don't understand. Anyway, we picked up Mega, which is obviously an insanely amazing spacebar item that just makes this run even more safe than it was mere moments ago. And we also got the Cancer Trinket, which really actually doesn't help our rate of fire as much as I thought it would, but I'll take it anyway. And we're missing out on the left hand to do so, but so be it, you know? You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. It's one of my least favorite expressions, by the way, even though I use it all the time. I know we've been in here, we don't need to go back. You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs is always used in, like, the world's worst possible context, which is like, Yeah, some people got screwed, but can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, right? Like, yeah, okay. You're not wrong, but at the same time, you know, eggs are, from a human standpoint, eggs are made to be broken. So it's not real. I don't feel like it's a useful message to be sending. Can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. It's like saying you can't drive a car without stepping on the gas. Of course. What are you gonna make, a shelled omelet? It's like it's an argument via absurdity. It doesn't make any dang sense, is all I'm trying to say. Cracking an egg is implied in the metaphor to be a bad thing, because something gets cracked. But an egg that is uncracked is not worth anything. And that's the methodology by which I've built up my entire brand. By being a pre-cracked egg. That's not true. You could get value out of an uncracked egg. Many of you probably bringing up the logical and correct argument. What about if you're hard-boiling an egg? You got me. You got me. I didn't think about a hard-boiled egg because I don't eat foods that are that stinky. Even though I did have smoked fish for breakfast. So it turns out I'm just full of contradictions today. Please stay away from me. Run is extremely great so far. I feel bad even asking for something like this, but at this point, what gives us the single biggest improvement on this run? Something like Goat Head would be, oh my god. Being able to dodge would be nice, but something like Goat Head would probably give us like the best possible improvement to this run as quickly as possible. So that we can pick up, you know, myriad deal with the devil items with the HP we already have. I am taking, like, we have no reason to be taking this much damage on this floor. A fire rate increase would also be super useful, and, in case it's not abundantly clear, could always use a little bit of defense. I like having runs with, like, a defensive item. Relic, Gimpy sometimes, although your mileage may vary. Dark Bomb, usually, preferably in conjunction with Gimpy. And then, secondarily, anything that makes Mega able to be used more frequently. So, if I can... I won't take a AAA battery, because I think the Cancer Trinket is way better, but if I could pick up... dozen eggs, quart of milk, loaf of bread on the way home. What do you think is the most... I'm trying to think of the way to phrase this, because again, I like to phrase things unambiguously. I don't like debates to be semantic. I think it's a waste of everybody's time, and it's like a, you know, oh, who's got... It's like on the internet, as soon as you make like a spelling mistake, if you're ever arguing with somebody, they're like, well, it appears you spelled the word wrong, so thank you so much for your resignation in this argument. Like, that's what arguing semantically is like in verbiage, you know? Oh, well, when you said pizza, I thought you were referring to an unleavened flatbread with cream cheese on it and a dairy product as a topping. You know, like, I have very little patience for that, despite what you might think based on, you know, the show I run and how I make my livelihood. But we already have the relic. Are you out of your mind, NL? What happened, dude? You lost it. You've had the relic since, like, the second floor. Why are you complaining about not having a defensive item? We're set. Never mind, everything's coming up Millhouse. By the way, I'm not using Ma just yet. I want to save it for the next floor. If it's a once every other floor sort of item while we're on the small floors, that's okay. What do you think is the most commonly purchased grocery store item in Western households? You know, the item that most North American families, not most, as in over like 50%, but like the item that shows up in the most North American households purchased from a grocery store. I really thought that would have disappeared by then. My bad. But we're lucky we have the relic so that I can afford to play like garbage here, even though I wish I was not. You know, I'm as much a victim of this as you are, because even though I'm in control of the ship right now, I'm also like, you know, some runs I just play well and I go, where'd that come from? And some runs I play terribly and I go, where did that come from? Do you think it's eggs? Because I was thinking about it. Bread you know, very commonly consumed, of course, in North America, and I'm sure, you know, worldwide. But it's got a bit of a bad rap over the past, you know, maybe like 10 years. People are trying to watch their carbohydrate intakes. They consider bread to be empty calories, even if it is whole grain bread. And, you know, I'm not trying to necessarily make this like a demographic sort of thing, but, you know, if you're an East Asian family or from an East Asian background, you might not consume bread. You know, every culture is kind of like a stereotypical carbohydrate of choice, right? I grew up eating a bunch of bread and potatoes. Kate grew up eating rice all the time. We go through the same kind of thing too. Is like, you know, when we go to like Japan, when we come back, I'm like, I need a sandwich. That was when we went to Korea this year. Like the day I got back, I hadn't slept in like 25 hours because the flight's crazy and I don't sleep on airplanes because life is so hard. But hear me out here. Pop this. Okay, take that damage. We didn't take it, which is incredible to me. And destroy this guy. Destroy Megamaw. And your animation should be slower. First thing I did was buy a sandwich. It's like it's in my... Not in my DNA, but... You know, historically, my body's been like, yeah, you need like a sandwich or two a week. And when I don't get it, it's like dying. And when we go visit my parents, and you know, we might not eat rice for like 5 or 6 days, Kate's like, I need to consume rice. You know? We've all got our own carbohydrate comfort food, I think. And if you don't think you got a carbohydrate comfort food, then go on keto for like 2 weeks and tell me what you start to crave. Maybe it's ice cream. Maybe it's tortillas, I don't know. But anyway. I think bread might be losing a little bit of market share. You know, I think sandwiches are becoming less popular. Even, you know, blue-collar workers are eating salads these days, trying to keep themselves alive long enough to take advantage of the social security they've paid into for the last 45 years, assuming it'll exist by then. You get the idea. Just hit me. It doesn't matter. So then the other one I would think of is milk. It's a very common one. But, you know, anecdotally, I got like a little anti-milk bias. I don't buy milk. Kate used to buy milk, but no longer buys milk. She consumes rice milk now. Soy milk. I don't like either of them. It's just... I think the word milk is like forever poison for me for whatever reason. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people like me out there. Sure, everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people eat, you know, breakfast cereal in the morning, and in general, milk is considered a prerequisite there, but, ooh. Oh, I didn't want to be here. Not yet, anyway. So I was thinking eggs, you know? Eggs are... I don't think they're consumed that commonly as just like, hey, here's an egg. Although, pretty commonly. But they're used as an ingredient in so many things. You think... Now I'm like... I don't know. I wonder if this is the sort of thing you can Google. Just give me a second. The right kind of keywords. What is the most purchased grocery... What is the most purchased grocery item in Canada? Let's go. Food shopping behavior in Canada. Most popular store? No frills. Really? I mean, it is the cheapest. I didn't know that. Wait. Most popular food and beverage stores, top grocery stores, reasons for choosing a grocery store, shopping trips, annual household expenditure on food, no. I want I want the best, or the most commonly purchased food. Most popular Canadian product categories purchased by consumers in Canada. Food, beer, clothing, furniture, wine. Please. I can't find it. Most popular Canadian grocery items with pictures. Number 1, crafting. Get that out of here. I know that's not true. That's a listicle. Most popular food and drinks in Canada. What is this Huffington Post article? Americanos. Canada drinks 8.64 times more Americanos than any other city in the world. We're a country. What are you talking about? Canadians eat 3.46 times more at Subway restaurants than any other city in the world. Get that out of here. Get that out. That stat means nothing. There was another. I just saw another one in this list. The so-called Huffington Post. It said, Canadians eat 2.64 times as many waffles as many other nations. What kind of stat does that mean? We eat 2.64 times as many waffles as many other nations. That means nothing. We could still be like the third least waffle consuming nation on Earth with that stat. Where did you learn how to write? Clown College? Subway University, where we eat 3.64 times as frequently as the average city, even though we're a freaking country? I feel like if a country eats something 3.64 times as often as the average city, it's actually eating it pretty infrequently, because, you know, the city might have a few million people. We got 30 million. So, oh. Go back to school. The article doesn't make sense. I don't know if that was like a blog on the Huffington Post website, or they just, you know, editors are in demand these days. Hey, is there any chance you might consider popping up? Thanks. You only took about 80% of my mega charge. I really appreciate that. Yeah, that was a classic. Anyway, we're steamrolling right now. I'll take that. We're not even in, like, Macbeth principle range, to be honest with you. Because of, the relic. Maw of the Void giving us some extra demon hearts. Like, we're set. I can play, like, garbage, as you're seeing right here, and we'll still be fine. Please. Don't you dare, dude. You gotta take a deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm letting my negative Isaac feelings melt away, and we're gonna play better now, because there's no reason to play badly. I was just gonna say, if I get hit there, I'm getting angry again. Nah. This run is still obviously gonna be incredible, but my performance has not been thus far. Luckily, we're getting demon hearts, like, more than we could ever ask for. That might actually be the worst article I've ever read. What most popular food items in Canada? I'm not looking for things Canadians eat that other countries don't. When I clicked on the first article, it showed me a picture of Kraft Dinner, aka Kraft Macaroni and Cheese. I was like, I know I can't trust this. Look, is Kraft Dinner a Canadian staple? Yes, absolutely. We even have our own unique name for it, Kraft Dinner. But it's not like, you know, for someone to think that in Canada we eat Kraft Dinner all the time is like going to Russia and being like, hey, do you guys have borscht for like every meal? No, we don't have, well, I assume they don't have borscht for every meal, you know? A beet-based soup, as delicious as it might be, you know, they eat other things as well. Very similar up here, you know? If you're a kid or a college student, probably gonna end up eating a little bit of Kraft macaroni and cheese. Yeah, let me give you a good anecdote. You're gonna love this one. I've never had Kraft macaroni and cheese in my life, except when I was like an infant, like in the prehistorical age when my memory was not even forming anything. Apparently, I loved Kraft Dinner and other box and canned pastas, but ever since I reached the age of being able to commit long-term memory, no thank you. So you'll notice I'm making some shortcuts here. I did choose to skip the shop, mostly because we don't need it, and I don't want to backtrack, and, you know, with Mega, there's not really an impulse to stop and smell the roses. You just want to, you know, do every room as quickly as possible, not worry about trying to buy things in the interim period, but anyway. Who would have thought it would be so, like, I pride myself on being able to answer questions using Google. I don't consider that, some people are like, oh, answer questions. He's smart, using Google. He's an idiot. No, it's the greatest tool we've ever had. What is the most purchased grocery item in North America? Top 10 groceries Americans buy. I'll accept this. Start the countdown. Don't start me at number 10. Number 10 is soda. Okay. There's sources for this article. I respect that. Number 1 is bread. Okay. I believe it. Number 2, packaged meats. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, okay. Very commonly consumed. Number 3, peanut butter? What the heck? Number 4, eggs. Number 5, laundry detergent, of course. Didn't even think about that. Number 6, milk. 7, salty snacks. 8, frozen dinners. 9, cereal. That list, you know, it seems plausible to me. I think that seems correct. I'm trying to think, like, when we go to the grocery store, I got, like, a routine of stuff that I buy. I'm really surprised that, like, you know, packaged meats, I get. I wonder if that includes non-deli meats, though, because, like, I feel like most people, when they go to the grocery store, purchase more non-deli meats than deli meats. You know, deli meats, you might get a few 100 grams. Enough to make sandwiches for a work week, but, you know, if you got a family and you're like, oh, let's have, like, we'll have oven-roasted chicken breasts tonight. You know, you gotta buy 3 or 4 chicken breasts as a result of that. You're already over that few 100 grams. Probably. Anyway, I buy it. I buy it, and I buy it. Out of that list, I buy bread pretty much every time I'm at the grocery store. Eggs are a little bit rarer because we don't use them that often. They stay good in the fridge for a decent amount of time. And I'm not going to get into the debate, okay? Because, you know, I know in the EU and other parts of the world, and even many of you in North America here, probably don't put your eggs in the fridge. Say they taste weird. They do stay good out of the fridge. They kind of come in like nature's fridge, right? Because of the shell. But I've always kept them in the fridge. They taste normal to me, and they stay better longer. That part is indisputable. If you're using eggs frequently, out of the fridge. If you're using them infrequently, in the fridge, I think is okay. So we probably want Mega. All these other items are pretty not good. Great room for the Magician. I didn't even think about that, but... Please stop having death animations. Never buy soda. I will, you know, I'll drink a soda now and then. You know, if I'm out at the restaurant. If me and the wife are having a nice romantic dinner, you know? Can I get a bottle of your finest Diet Cola, please, sir? But, salty snacks? Yeah, on occasion. We're a tortilla chip household. Peanut butter? I like it, but I really, that's the one where I'm like, I gotta see if that stat was provided by the Peanut Butter Bureau of North America or something like that, because it just seems like, as much as I love peanut butter, it just seems highly implausible that peanut butter, well, it said peanut butter and jelly technically, but that peanut butter and jelly would be the most common, the third most commonly purchased thing in a North American grocery store. I know that it isn't only used for sandwich, you can also use it for toast as an ingredient when baking, you know, etc., but I don't buy it. I think I've finished a jar of peanut butter like under 50 times in my whole life. Now 50 is kind of like a lot, but, you know, when we're talking about the most used or most purchased grocery in North America, I mean, how many loaves of bread have I eaten in my life? I've probably eaten like thousands. No, okay, maybe like 1,000. No, probably thousands. Even you might eat like 70 loaves. Well, 70 how many slices are in a loaf of bread? See, now we're getting into people. Some of you are gonna end up watching this video, and you're gonna have people around you, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, why are you watching this?" And you're gonna be like, "Hey, don't worry, this guy's really entertaining. Just listen to him talk." And then here we are at minute 24 of me trying to figure out how many loaves of bread I've eaten in my life. How many slices are in a loaf of bread? Do you count the end pieces as a full slice? What about those really long loaves you can get at the grocery store? Do those count? I don't know, man. I'm just the vessel for the dialogue to funnel through. Wonder if the Canadian grocery habits are a little different. I don't know. I assume they're very similar. I was kind of surprised to read in that article that No Frills is the most popular grocery store in Canada. And in reality, it sort of makes sense because it's like the cheapest chain grocery store. But I guess, you know, they've been hiding in plain sight. I do buy from No Frills on occasion. You know, No Frills is really a grocery store with... They mean what they say when they say No Frills. Like, the produce is just like in a shipping container, basically, that they got it in, laid out, and some of it's garbage. You really got to do your own sorting, which is fine, you know. It's how, you know, people grew up learning how to... Oh my god. How to buy groceries. You got to sort for the good apples, you know? But for stuff where the quality is pretty much the same regardless of the price, why not buy it at No Frills? Like, one of the examples is like potato chips, I think. If I'm in a No Frills, I'm getting potato chips. Because they sell the Canadian No Name brand, the very famous normcore aesthetic with the yellow label that just has, like, you know, milk. It isn't like Avalon Farm since 1883. It just says, like, you know, grape juice. Bacon. You know, there's no marketing on it whatsoever. But the potato chip, if you buy like a bag of Lay's potato chips, a family-sized bag, probably costs you like $3.50. $3.50 Canadian. And I'm not going to get into another discussion about whether that's crazy or not, because I know that in other parts of the world they might be a lot cheaper, maybe even more expensive depending on where you are. But a bag of no-name potato chips is like 80 cents. It's beautiful. I don't know how there's like 7 potatoes in a bag. And then let's not even talk about the fact that you got a factory, you know, you got to ship them. You got to pay the workers at the factory. I know that it's probably like largely machine driven, but it's still kind of amazing to me. So they're doing some amazing kind of like Walmart-y stuff. I do want to, this is not braggadocious, but in fact quite the opposite. Recently, Vancouver, British Columbia set a new record. And the record is for the highest gas prices ever seen in North America. This sounds like the opening of like a Conan O'Brien bit. It's true though. I didn't say it's Trudeau. I said it's true though. And I'm like, I'm kind of treating this as like a miniature, oh my lord, as like a miniature version of the real recession that happened in like 2008, 2009, where like so many of my friends were like, there's a recession and the job market sucks. So this is right around the time I graduated from university. They're like, I'm just gonna ride out the recession, do my master's, and come out to a healthy economy. Now, of course, there's no gas leak again. That's just the shower being turned on. Now, of course, that didn't end up happening, you know, we've recovered from the recession, but the economy has in many ways never been the same for people, especially in the demographic just entering the workforce. But anyway, I digress, not to like be too real over the course of this episode. But that's what I'm doing right now is you know, we drive so little. I filled up the car when we came back from seeing my nieces the last time. I probably talked about that on an Isaac episode, so you can run the numbers there. You know, it's been like a month and a bit probably since we filled up. We got half a tank left. That's how much we drive. And I'm kind of like, man, maybe I'll just never drive again. Maybe I'll just ride it out. If I don't drive for like 2 months, maybe gas prices will be low again. I mean, it's not like I can't pay for it. It's more like, how much is gas worth to you at some point, you know? We've got like a rash of, like, well, we've got a rash for one. I don't know if you know this, but yeah, everybody in Vancouver, they got something, it's called the Kitsilano rash. It's on the palms and inner eyelid. And it just says, order a dynamite roll. Well, we were going in the right direction there. This is a very fast run. I haven't talked about what's happening on the run for a long, long time, because we're, like, basically set. I may fight Hush on this run. This is kind of like a Hush, an ideal Hush run. I think, at least. But we've got a rash of, like, people, basically, like, bargain shoppers for gas. We live really close to the border, or I should say the city is really close to the border in general. So, like, to go get gas in America, where it's much cheaper, is only like a 30-kilometer drive, and you might save $40. But now, as a result of that, you got like a 35-minute wait just to get across the border, and then you gotta, look a grown man or woman in the face when they ask you why you're coming to their country, and you're like, I'm buying your gas. It's free trade or something, I don't know. I'm not about that life. It's the opportunity cost seems too high. I will take PhD. Judgment? Why not? I don't want to blow this guy up. He's not giving us anything.
I found pills.
Anyway, that's a day in the life of a typical Vancouverite again. The other thing I would commonly get from No Frills, there was a period of my adult life where I was like extremely health conscious. I was running like maybe 30 or 40 kilometers a week. No joke. And I know now, if another streamer was like, yeah, I run 40 kilometers a week, I would look at them and be like, no, you don't. But there was a time, I swear to you, and I was eating like every day, I was eating 2 salads of like chicken breast and romaine lettuce with like a couple cherry tomatoes sliced up between them. And I was getting all those ingredients in No Frills. We've got another grocery store here, erroneously called Save On Foods, that is very expensive. It's like when it comes to a name that promises low prices, either they're being honest or they're lying, pardon me, through their teeth. And when you buy pre-cooked chicken breasts, you could obviously cook them yourself, and I've done it many times. And for convenience's sake, oftentimes the pre-cooked is a more amenable option. But anyway, I digress. I'm just heading off the criticism at the past. It's like one chicken breast is like $8. At No Frills, they're like 8 chicken breasts are $1. It's it has an inverted pricing model that apparently is working out quite well for it. Anyway, I digress. I'm talking a little too much about groceries, but it is like one of the very few times I leave the house on a weekly basis. No, I've been trying to, and genuinely trying. Oftentimes when people, myself included, say they're trying to get healthier, what they really mean is like they're hoping to spontaneously get healthier. But, I've been genuinely working on it, I go in these like cycles. I sit on my job is obviously very sedentary, and I'm incentivized to use my brain, and especially now that I'm like in school as well, I have a lot of downtime where I'm just like sitting in a chair. So I've been riding my bike again, and dude, it's always the most humbling experience. I used to, and again, this is not meant to be braggadocious, nor are these particularly like long bike rides, but a couple summers ago, I was riding, 4 times a week maybe, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers a ride. Hour and a half, 2 hours of biking, depending on the kind of path you take. It was a great time. I was passing people. I was zipping around. It felt awesome. Went out for a ride with Kate on Friday, the first day we really had like great spring weather here. And I was like, my legs feel great. I could go like, we rode like 8 kilometers. And I was like, I could triple it, no problem. But then we came back home. Went out for a ride yesterday, 2 days after that. Legs were like, I'm not working anymore. Every time I get past now, I'm just like, please don't be a senior citizen. Please don't be a senior citizen. And I look at it's like 2 65-year-olds, they're not even wearing helmets, and they're using like those bikes with baskets on them, and I'm like, come on. Come on, I'm supposed to be in the prime of my life. And that's why it's humbling, and that kind of humblingness is useful, I think, to remind yourself, like, hey, you gotta work for good physical fitness, you don't just get it because you're young. Sometimes I trick myself into that, even as I get a little older, I'm like, I can eat pizza again. I'm young, we can make it work. And I get passed by a 50-year-old in a Hawaiian shirt on a Huffy, and I'm like, oh, we gotta get in gear, dude. So hopefully, by the end of this summer, you will look at this episode and be like, this is where NL started to get his life together again. before probably sustaining some sort of leg injury, lapsing into inactivity, losing all the progress that I made, and then, you know, not touching it again for a couple months. Tends to be the way it goes, you know? But we'll see. In the end, I'm not that worried about it. I've crossed that, I don't know if this is the same for everybody, but I feel like, you know, when you're young, like really, not really young, like 5, but when you're, you know, in your teenage years, you know, your 20s, into your late 20s, maybe even early 30s, why are you working out? Well, all the health benefits, obviously, and like, but in the end, you know, you probably want a little more action. I'm not saying that that's necessarily the defining thing for everybody, but if you're single and you're working out, and you're not training for, like, you know, races or a powerlifting contest or something like that, there's just probably a certain element of, like, this is gonna give me some more play. And if you're watching this with your kids, I just mean more romantic dates with partners you find desirous. I don't know if that's even a word. More nice dinners out. Now, I've reached the point, you know, mostly, I think, a little older combined with the fact that I'm married and have been for 4 years now. Time flies, dude. I'm basically like, I want to live as long as possible. I've reached that area that I think, like, adults past young adulthood start to get into, where, you know, I would be at the gym as, like, a 20-year-old, and I'd be like, Monday, arms. Tuesday, chest. Wednesday, arms. Thursday, chest. You know, just Friday, one leg exercise. I don't need to do leg workouts. I'll run on the treadmill. That's not how it works, but anyway. And, you know, you'd be talking to old-timers at the gym. They'll be like, well, my doctor told me to work out, so here I am, and now it's kind of fun. And you're like, you fool. Oh my god, rubber cement, what have you done? I am now that old-timer, at least to a certain extent. People ask me why I'm, you know, riding my bike. I'm like, well, it's nice summer weather and, you know, all that, but also I really don't want to die in my 30s. And I've been talking about this on stream more often, because, like, you know, I think streaming's a young industry, as in, like, the average age of the professionals that do it is pretty young relative to just about every other industry on planet Earth, next to, like, you know, being a Disney Channel actor or something like that. And everybody is pretty much hunky-dory. You know, there have been, like, some health concerns for streamers, obviously. There have been a couple of people who have, like, died on stream, but usually there's circumstances surrounding that death. Dude, I think we're ready to bounce on this one. I'll get Mega so I can evaporate him and finish my train of thought, though. I don't care about our secret moves. Look at, we've had full HP and so much damage for so long, but, you know, I really think that there's gonna be potentially, like, a reckoning in the streaming industry. You know, it's a sedentary job that pressures you to be on as often as possible. As a result, streamers oftentimes feel like they don't have enough free time to exercise, myself included, even if that's just a convenient lie to tell yourself so that you can justify working more and not doing the health stuff that you might find unpleasant for the first little bit. Maybe not getting enough sleep, not getting the kind of, you know, outdoor social interaction that allows you to, like, keep your mental health, or at least helps you keep your mental health in a decent spot. Not always the best diets, of course, and a lot of streamers also, like, coupling that with drinking, sometimes heavily, sometimes regularly on stream. I'm like, dude, when we hit our 40s, which is not that long from now, I'm nervous. I'm nervous for the current crop of streamers. Obviously, there are some people on the platform that are like, hey, I'm twitch.tv/fitnessbard, and I have an 8-pack and stream WoW. And I'm like, that's sick, dude. That's actually awesome. You're setting a great example. But I do worry that, you know, I'm not, like, trying to be, like, a stream mom or something like that. I'm more just like, I worry that some of these people, maybe even myself included, are doing some damage to their health, and, you know, it'd be wise to get out in front of that before there's some kind of like Terminator 2 style Judgment Day and we all start having heart attacks in our late 30s. But anyway, hey, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. It helps out a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.